Gorbachev, tear down this wall. I took advice on what I could or could not do. Yeah,
Hey guys, Soyboy Destroyer here. Today I want to continue my series about laws and tyranny on the road. This time, however, I want to shift my focus from cars to an often maligned group of people, pedestrians. Walking used to be a completely normal and acceptable way of getting around. Now society associates the act of walking with being homeless. Those unable to afford the new premier way of getting around, cars, or automobiles as they are known in Europe, are looked down upon and downright humiliated. If you'll recall my previous video on seatbelts, then you should know I uphold cars as a symbol of good old American freedom. And that's still true. There is nothing more American than speeding down Route 55 at 110 miles per hour, no seatbelt on, with a cooler full of Budweiser in the passenger seat. But none of us can spend our entire life behind the wheel. After all, liquor stores don't have drive-thrus. Sooner or later, we got to step out and stretch our legs a little. There is nothing more lovely than taking a stroll through a neighborhood. It truly is one of life's most simple yet rewarding pleasures. But not all is right in this picturesque scene. You go to cross the street, looking both ways for cars, first of course, because you're not a fucking idiot, when suddenly you're tackled to the ground by a sweaty, overweight police officer. Hands behind your back. You're under arrest for jaywalking. It may sound ridiculous, but this is happening every day all across the country. Don't believe me? Just last week, my editor, who goes by the nickname Oyster, was nearly arrested for exactly that. Luckily, he managed to get away by kicking the cop in the shin and jumping over a nearby fence. So, why? What is the point of stopping pedestrians from doing something as innocent as crossing the street during a red light? The truth, my friends, is much more alarming than it may initially seem. My research has led me to a very troubling conclusion. Jaywalking laws are just one of the many ways the devious federal government is attempting to revoke our autonomy and turn us all into mindless sheep. Sounds ridiculous? Well, put down that bottle of Soylent and open your eyes, pal. What is one of the core freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution? The citizens of each state shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of citizens in the several states. And since Caulfield v. Coriel, all the way back in 1823, freedom of movement has been acknowledged as a constitutional right. So, what gives? How is it that our lawmakers can get away with such a blatant violation of our rights? That's when it hit me. A car, that is. I was hit by a car. Don't worry, I'm fine. The doctor wanted to do a bunch of tests and stuff, but I told him that I don't have insurance, and either way, it didn't even hurt that badly. Really, everything looked much worse than it was. But can you guess where this happened? At a crosswalk. And no, I wasn't jaywalking that time. I was following Big Brother's rules and walking at the crosswalk. And only when the little white man appeared on the sign. But you know what? It didn't matter. Turns out that crosswalks aren't magical barriers that protect pedestrians. So, if crosswalks don't work, why do we even have them? Conditioning. It's subtle, but crosswalks, sidewalks, they are all part of a scheme to slowly brainwash the public. If Big Brother can convince you to never take a single step off their government-approved stretch of cement, then they can convince you to do just about anything they want. As the government has grown in size and totality, the number of restrictions have also increased. In the early 1900s, jaywalking was completely normal. This is footage from a famous video of Market Street in 1906. Here, on the busiest street in all of San Francisco, you can see dozens of people jaywalking like it's perfectly normal. Businessmen, workers, and children all cross the street wherever and whenever they want to, weaving through traffic like it didn't exist. Here you can see people, individuals, acting on their own accord and using their own proper judgment to decide where they want to go, when they want to go. Today, it's exactly the opposite. The nanny state has decided that it's too dangerous for Americans to even decide where they want to walk or when they are allowed to walk. They have even placed an extra burden on pedestrians by expecting them to be visible and to wear bright clothing. Hell, they expect bicyclists to wear goofy-looking helmets that nobody takes seriously. All of this acts as a direct violation of our freedom of movement, and as a result, nobody wants to walk anywhere anymore. But you, my soy-slaying brother-in-arms, you and I know better. When you jaywalk, you aren't just getting to your destination faster, sometimes much faster at that, in cases where crosswalks are spaced far apart from you. You are outright defying the tyrannical will of the state. George Washington, all of our founding fathers, didn't just declare their independence. No, they jaywalked to the Pennsylvania State House. They jaywalked at Lexington and Concord. They jaywalked away from the British Empire altogether. Martin Luther King Jr. jaywalked at the March on Washington, and Reagan jaywalked at the Brandenburg Gate, and I jaywalked at Rivers Avenue. Sorry, let me just catch my breath for a second. I think I've made my point crystal clear. If the American sheeple are ever going to break free from the mental prison we've been crammed into, then we must take action. I realize that this is a subversive call to arms, and I'm risking my channel and perhaps my life to spread this message. But I can't let them get away with this. If you value your life and your freedoms, then you have to fight for them. You have to cross the street during light traffic at places other than legally sanctioned crossing points. Soyboy Destroyer, signing off.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. I took advice on what I could or could not do.
Yeah, stop being a hypocrite. Freedom for everyone.
So,
Yeah.
stop inflating.
Yeah.
You haven't